Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. The number to call after the first break, 585-346-3000. Well, it is many things made me think because of last weekend. For those of you who know, I was out across Western New York last weekend. Some of you came out and saw me. I was in Buffalo, Dansville, Albion, a bunch of places I was out there saying hi to people, shaking hands and kissing babies and meeting lots of people. Made me think about people who are working people, trying to make the next step in their life. And it reminded me of my mom. When my mom came over, she actually worked in a bank. And she tried her best to move up in the bank system. She didn't have a college degree. In fact, she didn't even have a high school diploma. And she was just working hard and trying to get to the next step. And it was tough for her. She wasn't the best communicator. English was her second language. She was a hard worker, that she was, but she didn't have education, and English was her second language. Challenging for her to move forward. But she kept doing it. Smashed her head against the wall, and it just didn't work. So finally, my dad said, why do you keep doing this? Just stop. Do something else. She's like, that's easy for you to say. You're an American. English is your first language. You have a high school diploma, right? And my dad was in law enforcement, so he was already working for the government. So he was good. So he's like, do something else. And she said, what am I going to do? And he said, well, you're a hard worker. She's like, yeah, I'm a hard worker. Do hard work. So I'm not joking. We started our own little side hustle, cleaning houses and cleaning offices. And of course, I was a kid, and she dragged me along. And I was helping to clean houses and helping to clean offices as a kid. Larry, oh my God, you're for child labor. No, I'm for family helping out in family businesses. That I'm all about. So yes, let's do that. But why do I say that? Because that's what got her out of her rut. Doing something different, working on her own, not waiting for some foreign bank to somehow promote her or make her great. Nope, did it herself. Locally, herself, with her family, in her community. And my dad saw that, and then he started his side hustle. Yes, he was a DJ on the weekends. Yep, back in the 70s when it was disco and stuff. Yep, disco DJ. That was my dad on his side hustle. So he did a side hustle. She did a side hustle. That's how we got out of the South Bronx. Both of them hustling, not waiting for someone else to help them out, not waiting for a foreign company to all of a sudden give her some great benefit or something. She worked herself locally. So did my dad. And we got out of the South Bronx. Entrepreneurism and local hard work is what did it. Well, you might go, Larry, so what? Why are you telling me that story? There is no difference between that and New York State as a whole. Locally, we have to grow. Locally, we have to work. We can't wait for someone outsider to come in and fix stuff for us. Why do I bring this up? Because our Republican candidate for New York State governor has decided that the right answer is outsiders coming in, helping us out. And she's proud of it. She has announced her words from her press release, a historic, her words, an historic deal between the Department of Commerce and X-Lite to build the next generation of semiconductor manufacturing technology in New York State. What she says, And she attacks. As Kathy Hochul continues to annihilate innovation and manufacturing across our great state, that's what she says about Kathy Hochul. Huh. So Elise's new plan is to bring in another company with a bunch of outside dollars, federal funds. So big business or big government, neither one good, but she's going to bring those in. And it's $150 million. All these jobs, right? No. It's a letter of intent. What does that mean? Let me tell you what letter of intent, or LOI, very common, LOI, what that means. Here's what that means. Trust me, bro. Let's be very clear. Trust me, bro. That's what it is. So she announces, trust me, bro, $150 million, historic, Kathy Hochul bad. Okay, well, why do I care about that? Because I look back at an X post, or Twitter back then, last year, 2024, Kathy Hochul talking about Micron. And her words, this is Kathy Hochul's words, again, not mine. This is a big milestone in Micron's historic, everything's historic, $100 billion investment in central New York. And guess what they're building? Semiconductors. Isn't that the same thing Elise just told me? Elise told me that she's got $150 million in Trust Me Bro dollars. She's got Trust Me Bro bucks coming from Uncle Donnie, supposedly. That's going to happen. And semiconductors. And that means that Governor Hochul is bad because she wants to, the exact same thing, just more money. They have learned nothing. New queen, same as the old queen. Bribe, bribe, bribe. Big business, big government, what's the difference? None. Where is the support local people growing part? Where is the help out the people who are already here part? Where is the I have a business here in New York State, I could use some help part? Where's that part? I don't see that. I don't see the let's help the people here. I don't see that at all. Now, here's the best part. Well, Larry, you don't understand. Stefanik is just talking trash, but Hochul's the real deal. Because Micron, oh my God, because Micron's awesome, because Micron's awesome. Is it? To get Micron here, we had to give them $5 billion in subsidies. One more time, $5 billion. If I got to bribe you $5 billion to come to my state's business environment sucks. I shouldn't have to bribe you $5 billion. But they had to. Yep. And they gave them, I'm not joking, a 49-year tax, property tax break. 49 years. Okay, I got a crazy idea. Crazy idea. If you can afford to give these companies $5 billion in subsidies, 49-year property tax break, I got an idea. Every retail store in New York State, give them a 49-year property tax break. Done. As long as you are a local store who sells only locally. So Walmart, you don't get that. Best Buy, you don't get that. Dollar General, you don't get that. Mike's Diner, you get that. Yes. Joe's Hardware Store, you get that. Paula's Pizza Shop, some of you know where that's a callback from. You get that. Yes, you guys get that. Big boys, no. Do that. Imagine if you did that instead. Or maybe not even property tax break. You want to hire more people? What if you did every local business a 49-year payroll tax break? You know how many local restaurants, local diners are paying almost the same as salary in payroll tax? You could hire more people, literally. If you hire 5 people in your small restaurant, store, bar, whatever, vape shop, I don't care, wherever it is, you hire 5 people. And I say 49 years, 0 payroll tax. The next month, you could hire another person. I'm not making that up. Ask any small business owner. If you have 5 or more people, and I said no payroll tax for 49 years, you could hire a new person the next month. That's how fast it would be. Or maybe no sales tax. I keep making stuff up. This isn't rocket science. It's just my focus is on the local New Yorker. So if you got $5 billion, Queen Kathy, or if you got 150 million, trust me, bro, bucks, Stefanik, how about we give it to the local New Yorkers? Give them a break so they can hire more people and build up more infrastructure here and get people off the streets. Or tell you what, don't hire another person. Give everybody a raise. Done. You don't need more bodies. Okay, give them a raise. Say you're a local guy who has, 100 stores, and you got tons of people, and I give you that break, but you're only in New York State. You're a Stewart's or something like that. You guys who know where Stewart's is, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's a Stewart's. You give them the idea of no payroll tax for X number of years. Stewart's could give everyone a raise. Weird how that works. Weird how just thinking about local things will change. But no, they won't do that. Stefanik won't do that. Hochul won't do that. Hochul doesn't care because she's in charge and she just wants to give out jobs. Stefanik doesn't care because she's not going to win and she knows she won't. And to be forward, Stefanik never cared about New York in the first place. She spent 10 years in D.C. She cares about D.C. She cares about, foreign policy. That's why she wanted to go to UN. She just can't wait till she becomes ambassador to Chile or something. It doesn't matter. Guys, New York State matters. Local people matter. If you want to grow, it must be through New York hard work, and the government must support that and not support outsiders coming in. Support us here. Am I nuts? You can tell me. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty, 585-346-3000. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about City Collision and Henrietta.
By the way, I've been seeing the petitioning of changing the Mario Cuomo Bridge back to Tappan Zee is really getting traction. I trust you've seen that.
Providing you the best repairs and customer service has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional.
You're welcome.
Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs. And thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
Donald Trump and conservatives may have won.
By the way, I think you've mentioned this several times too, but I've seen on some social media like Facebook, just people's comments are always funny. But several people have said things like, why not sell naming rights? Make it the Google Bridge. They pay, and then there's no taxes. I believe you said that once upon a time.
The voice of liberty. Call 585-346.
Yep, I just had to share that with you.
If you like history and you like airplanes, the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo, New York is the place to go. Tours, exhibits, events, vintage aircraft, and more. Visit National...
Yep, I just got another call. Mike.
Sharpe Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty, 585-346-3000. I have been talking about growing New York State without giving all our money away to outsiders, actually helping out local people who are trying to make stuff happen here. I know, sounds nutty, but I'm telling you, it is the answer. All right, I have so many comments. I also want to grab some phone calls too. I want to grab one quick comment. This is from Mike. Mike Voss is in the house. He says, I hate empty promises that always fill election years. They promise home runs and economic salvation and deliver nothing every time. Yes, well, they deliver something, Mike. They deliver disappointment. So that's something, I guess. All righty, from one Mike to a next, I want to grab a call if I could. This is another Mike. Mike, how are you?
Larry, pretty good at yourself. Hey, that
I'm
letter
doing
of
awesome.
intent just makes a crappy piece of toilet paper. That's about what it's worth.
Yes. Correct.
Oh,
Yes.
It's a promise that maybe I'll come. Another thing about empty promises. How about a couple of years ago, the big boogabah was photonics.
Yes.
Okay, we're bringing all this photonics job, photonics this, photonics that. Where the hell's all these photonics jobs? Okay, all I seen was tax money used as bribery to bring these people in. They set up their little 1-man or 2-man thing. Oh, they're going to hire 50 people, 100 people, and everything. You know, especially in the old Kodak building. You drive by those old Kodak
in
buildings.
Rochester. Yes.
There's nobody there.
Yeah. The funny part is they come in just long enough to fulfill the minimum requirement to collect the cash. Then once they collect the cash, they leave. I was talking to a guy, oh God, this is maybe a week or two ago, who was talking about how he, is bidding for New York State cash to, do X or do Y. And so he actually said he would get the cash and then physically move there. And they went, great. And they gave him the cash and he went to the place and physically moved there. And when he got there, nobody else was there. And he said, what's going on? And the people who were there goes, oh, nobody actually moves here. You're the weirdo. You actually moved here. What they do is they put like a P.O. box here or something, collect the cash and leave. You were the dummy who actually moved here. And that's the crazy part. Most people take our money and don't even come. And if they do come, they bring their bros in and don't even hire locally. It has worked literally 0 times. You're right.
Hey, one other quick question while I got you on the line. How about have you heard your girl the Republican who her next donor is going to be?
No.
The Adelsons has committed to donating money to her because she wants to come visit her in the governor's mansion.
Of course. She is more concerned about outside New York than inside New York. That is literally my point. She proves my point every week. Stefanik is not concerned about New York State. She's concerned about national issues, international issues. She would know where half the places in New York State are that I've been to. She has no clue. I've been to her area, and when I go to her area and visit, her people say, Larry, we see you more than we see her. Absolutely. Thank you for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. So I want to move to the next piece, which is how do we raise money here? Like, if I'm going to sit here and say, well, I don't want your big federal dollars, which I don't, because it always has strings attached, and it always fails, and it always wrecks us, and then we owe them. No, I don't want that. How are we going to raise money, Larry? Big brain, you so damn smart. Then how are we going to raise the money? I just gave you a bunch of ways last segment on how we can help a small business out. My engineer during the break was talking about, he heard people talk about in New York State, a petition to change the bridge, which is now the Mario Cuomo Bridge. That's in the Hudson Valley, downstate for those of you who don't know. And change it back from the Mario Cuomo Bridge to the original Tappan Zee. Well, I have a better idea. All of our bridges and tunnels, particularly those downstate, that are crossed by millions of New Yorkers and, Connecticut people, New Jersey people, every day, truckers from the up and down the East Coast, every day, we should lease naming rights out to those. So I don't want it to be the George Washington Bridge or the Tappan Zee Bridge or whatever bridge. I want it to be the Pepsi Bridge, the Google Bridge, the 3M Bridge, the Chrysler Bridge. I don't care. Whoever wants to pay. If the Cuomo family wants to keep that name, they may. I want $20 million a year. They can keep it. If the Cuomo family will pay New York State $20 million every year, they can keep it. It can stay Mario Cuomo. Love it. Write me a check. You can keep it. In fact, anybody can. If the Stefanik family wants to have it, we'll call it the Elise Stefanik Bridge. Love it. $20 million a year. Wow, that's a lot of money. No, it isn't. They give $20 million to have a name on a stadium that's used on the weekends. I'm giving you a bridge that's used by millions of people every single day and mentioned hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, on traffic reports, on TV, radio, Sirius XM, every other place. And on top of it all, if anyone is in New York City and they do a movie and a panning of the city skyline, you get product placement. Look at that. You will happily pay that. In fact, when I first brought this up in 2018 for the New York City bridges only, Tappan Zee is not New York City, but it's downstate. But the Tappan Zee, I went to talk about New York City bridges. I said $100 million. I had bankers literally call me up and say, how long's the lease? And I said 12 years, front loaded. We do that. They lease it for 12 years. It's also listed on Google Maps now and on Waze for your Uber driver. You get so much marketing. And then someone goes, well, Larry, I don't want to see marketing on my bridge. Great. What's your answer? Well, then you can shut up then. If you have an answer, my ears are wide open, but you don't. So now we raise that cash to fix our bridges. And with that, why are we paying tolls? Tolls go away. Imagine if there were no tolls in New York State. Yeah, no tolls. Why? Not needed. I just gave you ways to fix infrastructure. I just gave you ways to raise money. I gave you before ways of supporting local businesses without having to bribe anybody, without having to give away $5 billion. When you give Micron $5 billion, somebody pays for that. And here's the part that I will love. I will always give credit where credit is due. And this is to one of the worst mayors we ever had. Soon that might change. But one of the worst ever was Bill de Blasio. Now, one good thing about Bill de Blasio is that guy was honest. He was straight up. When they were going to bring Amazon to New York City, and they said all that money, $2 billion, they're going to bribe him, they said, how are we going to make that up? He said straight up, the local businesses will pay. His words. He's like, yep, I'm going to redistribute wealth. His words. I got to give him credit. The guy was an open, honest socialist. I'll give him that. Terrible mayor. But at least you knew what you were getting. I'll give you that one. So let me grab a couple of comments if I could. Gene says, the difference between big business and big government is that government is a monopoly. Government is force. Force is violence. True. This is why when you get big business supported by big government, they become the same. Note every single one of my policies does not include big business getting hooked up with big government. It includes big business paying, not getting paid. Note my Google Bridge, they pay us. We don't pay them. Now, if you lean right, you should be happy about that. No taxes, no tolls. Awesome. You lean left. You should also be happy because you cry about big business paying. Now they're paying voluntarily. They are. All good. So, all right. At 2ANYS. Oh, let me grab it fast. Hochul was an Israel puppet taking paid trips there. Stefanik has taken one man from AIPAC. Two cheeks of the same derriere. I believe in New York and America first. Amen, brother. And the Second Amendment, too. Are we crazy? Let us know. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with more of your calls and more of your chat. I see you after the break.
radio home of the Bonnies. Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA-FM, Hornell, New York. FM Talk. Canisteo Valley Update.
Arkport Central School is having a public referendum tomorrow about the proposed $11.3 million capital project. That's 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow. School officials in Arkport say infrastructure plans include repaving the bus garage, replacing the old HVAC systems, and reconstructing the loading dock. Officials also say upgrades included in this project will prevent emergency repairs and expensive ones, too. Again, voting for the Arkport Capital Project. That's tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. inside the Arkport Central Small Gym. In other news, the Steuben County Sheriff's Department had a Toys for Tots event this past Saturday in the Hornell Plaza. The Hornell Police Department's doing a Toys for Tots event, too. That'll be Saturday, December 20th, 9 to noon in the Hornell Plaza as well. It's being organized by Hornell Police Officer Mike Hoyt. Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Partly cloudy, cold once again in the teens, couple of towns single digits. On Tuesday, increasing clouds, some snow showers in the afternoon, high near 30, turning a bit breezy. A little windy on Thursday, some slushy snow in the morning. Will change to a bit of rain in the afternoon as temperatures climb above freezing. Colder weather with lake lakes on Thursday. I'm Rich Cornelia for the Voice of Liberty.
Hi, this is Gary Mervis, founder of Camp Good Days. My youngest child, Teddy, was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor at just 9 years of age. I wanted her to have a place where she could still laugh, play, and be with other kids who understood. So with the help of many people in our community, we established Camp Good Days. It brings me immense joy to say that 46 years later, we've been able to provide over 57,000 good days and special times to children, families, and adults impacted by cancer or sickle cell anemia. All at no cost to them. But that's only been possible because of the generosity of our community. So this holiday season, I challenge everyone to dare to care and consider making a tax-deductible donation or volunteering with us.
Hey, did you see there was a fire on the Adirondack, which is one of the cruise boats up on Lake George this morning?
Happy holidays.
Yeah, just Google Lake George Adirondack fire. There's two cruise companies there. One is the Steamboat Company, which has the Minnehaha and Mohican, Lac du Saint Sacrament. I think the company that owns the Adirondack, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that they're the same company that had the Ethan Allen, the boat that capsized with all the elderly people several years ago. Yeah, it's to me it looks like the boat could be a total loss.
The right which requires the last first name, DMV, taxes and fees due at signing, eligibility conditions and exclusions may apply. Come test drive and see dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Massillon, Fairport, and Finger Lakes. Celebrate the season at the most beautiful new vehicle sales and service dealership in the area. Victor, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. 6484.
Oh, yep. Sorry, when I talk to you, I forget to do it.
I'm Savage here again for Aaron Moore. I know you're feeling those crisp, cool nights, and as you notice the chillier air, that's also got to get you thinking about your recent rising energy bills. Good thing you can do what so many have discovered, that you can slash your heating costs this fall and winter with Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters while cranking down your furnace. Even better, Aaron Moore heat is quiet, clean, and even, and healthier. No burning of oxygen and particulates to dry out your nose, sinuses, and skin. And Aaron Moore heaters are completely safe for children and pets. No exposed hot surfaces or heating elements to pose shock or fire hazards. Choose the best-selling Comfort Deluxe or the compact Comfort Buddy for smaller areas. Enter discount code WYSL in your shopping cart and save. Free shipping in the continental USA. Copper PTC technology means there are no bulbs to replace ever. Built like a battleship, maintenance-free Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters are the way to really save on heating bills like we do at the Voice of Liberty. Call 800-707-8725 or visit air, the letter N, more.com.
Buy a gift certificate online for a ride in Whiskey 7, our C-47, or other planes from the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo. What a great gift for that warbird enthusiast. Visit nationalwarplanemuseum.com for more information.
Are you holiday shopping for the horse lover in your life? Patchwork Saddlery has gift certificates and stocking stuffers. Put your money where your heart is. Shop locally at Patchwork Saddlery, East Main Street, Avon, next to Tompkins Community Bank.
Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number to reach out and tell me what you're thinking. I do have a bunch of comments from online. I want to grab some of these if I can. Let's see here. Gene says, I heard a statistic that 50% of restaurants failed in the first year. I don't know if that statistic is accurate, but your plan could make many more restaurants successful. Local restaurants support local people. Yes, on many levels. Number one, local restaurants also give a lot of people their first job, right? Some local kid who's trying to get something that. They also give people who are having to reboot their lives. I know my mom. For those of you who remember, my mom was both an addict and a felon. And when she got out of prison, she had to restart. And the way did she restart? Waitress in a diner. That's how she restarted. So very often restaurants give someone a second chance. Divorced parent who needs to make cash. Someone who had an addiction problem. Someone who had a tragedy in their life. Very common when you have to reboot your life. Local businesses are the ones who do it. Often local restaurants. I agree. Now, will some go under? Yes. Anyone who's been in the restaurant business knows it is a tough business. It is. And many of them will go under. But why would government make it harder, Gene? Government should make it easier. Some are still going to fail. I can't magically make all businesses succeed. It's not going to work. But can I make it easier? Yes. Can I not punish them? Yes. And we should be looking for that, not trying to say, hey, can I get more whatever, McDonald's in or more Taco Bell's in? And look, I'm not against Taco Bell, not against, McDonald's. If you like that food, eat it. You should do. I'm a libertarian. Eat what you want to eat. If you enjoy that food, please eat it. All I'm saying is when we punish local, we by default help the mega corporations. And whether you like Taco Bell or McDonald's or whatever you like, those are mega corporations. They're going to be just fine. I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about local businesses. You should be able to have either of them, whichever one you prefer, or both if you like both, whatever is your thing. So yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that, Gene. All right. Dina says, I love that. If the Cuomos want the name, they got to pay for it like anybody else. Yes, I don't mind. They can have it. They can have all the bridges. We can make every bridge a Cuomo bridge. If you're ready to pay, I don't know, $1 billion a year or whatever, great. Take them all. Give me $1 billion a year. You have every bridge, all of them. Don't mind at all. I'll smile while cashing that check for the state. Keep them all. No worries. So yes, Lenari says, Larry for governor. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. So, all righty. Gene goes on to say, I love the idea of selling naming rights. How do we keep the government from using the money for their pet projects instead of what it's supposed to be used for? There is only one way of doing it, how you collect it, right? You would have to have a separate organization and or company. In theory, it could be a hybrid. I hate hybrids so much, but I would accept it if I had to. But you want to have a separate organization. That would mean you'd have to have the assembly literally somehow abolish or destroy it to take the money. Now, could they do it? Yes, but that's a whole lot harder. So you have I'm making this up, a New York State bridge company. I made it up, but it's separate with a separate CEO, a separate board that is not selected by the governor. Let me say it again. That is not selected by the governor. That is not selected by the Assembly or the State Senate. It is privatized. Individual people can choose. Now, if you want to have a co-op model, I'm not against that either, where citizens pick. I can do that too. So if the bridge is in a certain area, usually bridges cross multiple counties. Usually, not always, but they usually do. If they cross multiple counties, you could have, 50% the private sector and 50% co-op run by individual citizens in each county. I would buy that too. You could even, if you wanted to, have a co-op model that the bridge, as it gets naming rights, X percent goes to the corporation that pays for the maintenance of the bridges or other roads or fixes potholes, whatever. Another chunk goes into each county. Now, the county can decide, does the county want to just give a check out to each person, which for a bridge would be kind of minor, probably a couple $100 a year? They want that. Would they put it into a community bank so they can help finance small businesses? Okay. Do they want to put it into the general budget to help pay for unfunded mandates? Whatever. Once you start this idea of getting big business to pay for the infrastructure within the state, the monies can go different places depending upon what each individual area needs. If you have an area that's struggling, with terrible roads, fix the roads. Again, as governor, Gene, I don't have to know everything about every local community. Not required. I have to allow local communities to have more control. If they have more control, they will feel like they have more buy-in to their own government. And you will watch them run for office. You will watch them do things that matter. You will watch them get engaged because their vote will matter. When that money comes in from the bridge, they're going to help decide. Is that a $300 check to each resident? Is that a bunch of potholes being filled? Is that, backing a local, county co-op credit union? Again, what do you need? Are your local businesses struggling? Do they need better financing? Make a local bank. Sorry, credit union. Do that where the people locally own it and they can help out. They can go, no, I'm not helping out Walmart or Dollar General. I'm not. But I will help out when Jane wants to open up her accounting firm, or when Bobby wants to open up his diner. Well, we'll finance them. All good. This idea makes everything become better. So I hope that makes sense. Merlin says, what about the new cannabis law banning all THC? When are we going to learn that this plant can do everything? Hemp can do a whole lot. Not sure everything, but it can do a lot. But here's the point. It doesn't matter if it can or can't. It's actually irrelevant as far as government's concerned. Why are we banning things? Stop banning things. The government's job should be several things. One, defending the rights of its citizens, which includes fraud. So if you don't like cannabis or THC or whatever, don't buy it. And don't let someone lie about what's in a product. If you know there's THC or whatever the case may be in a product and you choose to buy it and you know it, that's on you. If you say, I don't want it, and it's in it, that's fraud. That's a crime. You punish the people who sold that. Banning is the wrong idea. Enforcing fraud is the right idea. If you know what you're getting and you decide to do it, you should be able to do it. If someone's lying or cheating or whatever, punish them. That is fraud. Stop banning. And the last thing that government should be doing is defending the individual citizens against the local bullies. There are always going to be local bullies. And the state government should be fighting against those local bullies. Right now, our local bully is the government. So there's no one to help us. So I think it's a terrible idea. Look, I'm sober. People who know me know I am. The only drug I use is caffeine. That's it. Coffee. Nothing else. But if you want to use weed or you want to use whatever, as long as we understand what's in it and what's happening, I'm not fighting you. I'm not mad at you. So, yes. All righty. Let me keep walking down this road if I could. All righty. I think we grabbed that piece. Roger says, Larry, the only way this will be resolved is when New Yorkers can place our own amendments on the ballot for ratification. Roger, you know I'm on board with that, brother. I am trying to make it to where we have a way of getting around all the oligarchs in this state. This state is run by oligarchs. No doubt. It is run by oligarchs, and we have to get around them. And one of the best ways, you're right, is ballot initiatives. Now, some of you may say, if you live in New York State, wait a minute, Larry, I see ballot initiatives all the time. True, you're not wrong. We can put ballot initiatives on the ballot. We can. The problem is the assembly has to say it's okay. We, citizens, cannot. And that is what Roger's talking about. We as citizens cannot just do that. So what does that mean? That means whenever there's something that's controversial that the assembly does not want to take responsibility for, they put it up for on the ballot. Then we vote for it and they go, what are you going to do? The people voted for it. It's not our fault. That's why. The assembly uses the ballot initiatives right now to avoid responsibility, not to help us. I don't want that. If we want something, we should be able to put it on the ballot. Roger's correct. We should do that and go past them. That's more important. Am I crazy? Is Roger crazy? Probably yes to both, but that's fine. You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with more of your calls and your chat. I do see you after the break.
Debunking advertising from the law office of Christopher Johnson. One ad some injury attorneys inundate you with, what's your case worth? Call us and find out. You know, nobody can tell you, quote, what your case is worth over the phone.
In case you wonder what the text I sent you was a link to a story about that tour boat.
Evaluation and preparation. Many factors go into any compensation you might get, like applicable law, who's actually at fault, how much insurance coverage there is, and many, many other factors. At the law office of Christopher Johnson, the singular focus is getting your life back on track after an accident or injury. That takes money, and it helps when the advice and legal advice you get has a one-on-one focus informed by straight talk. Christopher Johnson Attorney, car, truck, motorcycle accidents, personal injury, and DWI defense. Call 585-415-3803. 585-415-3803.
The youth of our city are in a new crisis. Criminal justice reform has created the consequences of no consequences and generated a whole new generation of 12 to 17-year-old kids committing serious crimes. Never before have we had this level of youthful offenders, but 90% of these kids are just trying to do the right thing and need a safe sanctuary to retreat to. That's Rochester Youth for Christ. You can be a part of this solution by giving generously and regularly at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Sharpe Radio on the voice of liberty.
Yes, indeed. It is Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. So happy you're giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. Yes, we have been talking about making New York State better from inside, locally, making things work and stop getting people from outside to keep coming in. For those of you saying, but Larry, you don't get it. Micron is the exception. Kathy Hochul's told me that already. Well, guess what? They are already delayed years. Already delayed years. We probably won't see anything until 2029, 2030, who knows? So even though she got paperwork signed, it's still, trust me, bro, still. And Elise Stefanik, what's her answer? Well, worse. Trust me, bro. I'm not trust me broing anybody. I am getting New Yorkers to happily want to engage because here's what I know. I know this to be true. And so do you in your heart. If New Yorkers actually had hope, if they actually had support, they would thrive, because New York State's an amazing state. Everything you could want is here, but we have to have some hope to get it done. There are parts of upstate New York where only 1 in 6 New Yorkers vote. I was with this is a little sad, but I'm going to say it anyway. I was meeting with people this weekend, and one woman is at one of my tables, and she's sitting and chatting, and she says, I have 3 employees, and none of them have ever voted. Yes, 3. And they weren't all like, well, Larry, they were all like teenagers, right? No. From their 20s to their 40s, never voted. And no intention of voting. Why? It doesn't matter. I know that hope and change thing sounds cheesy. I know it does, but you also know it works. It does. We got to give them hope that there can be change, and they'll vote, and they'll start businesses, and they won't leave, and all that will happen. I know it can. I think you know it too. So that's what we have to do. Carl is here. Carl says, quite a few different localities in New York State have expressed an interest in nuclear power. Do you think we could build multiple nuclear power plants in New York State and restart the energy economy required for data centers and New York City? This piece is so insanely important. I cannot stress this. This piece deals with our AI issue, deals with our massive data issues, deals with our blockchain issues, all of it. It is energy. You already see Her Majesty, Queen Kathy, first of her name, worshiper of the jab, breaker of
Roger,
crusher of conservatives, banisher of conservatives. You already see this already happening with her. She's already backing off because her energy policies are utter garbage. We can do this. And let me walk down this road real fast. The best way we do this is putting nuclear power plants everywhere in New York State where the people want them. And I have to go forward on this. One of the places I know it will work is across the North Country, off the St. Lawrence River, for sure. Western New York will have it too. Now, if local municipalities and or local counties agree, we create nuclear power plants in their area, preferably thorium, Gen 4. 50% of it is co-op owned by the local people. Why does that matter? Several reasons why that matters. Number one, if the local county owns it, or local municipality, depending upon where you are, 50%. What happens is they now have voting rights and profit sharing, both. What does that mean? Now, if some company wants to come in, and to your point, some data centers don't create a lot of jobs. Now, nuclear power plants do, at least hundreds of them. And for every one nuclear power plant job, there's 4 auxiliary jobs that happen because of that job at the power plant. Data centers, not so much. Blockchain mining, not so much. One center might produce a dozen jobs, maybe. It's
Roger.
not a huge job producer. With that in mind, why would you want one in? You want one in because you now get a cut. Alaska has this already. Alaska gets money from their energy, about $1,000 per person per year. Now imagine if all of a sudden, now again, I'm back to my co-op idea. Local people control it. So now these data centers come in, they're sucking up all the energy, but they're paying for it. And now local people decide, do I want to check for that? Okay. Do I want to fund a local community, bank? Do I want to fund a local project? They get to vote on it, how they want to do this. Not just that. Some AI group is doing something bad. They don't like it. You can vote to not give them energy. You will have some control over AI. The only way to have control over AI is to have all of us have control over AI. How do we do that? Energy. Someone has to be able to pull the plug. Someone has to. It can't be the top 6 billionaires on the planet. It's got to be us. We do that. So yes, yes, and yes. The future of New York is dozens of nuclear power plants, co-op ownership by the local people, so that now we can get cash if we want cash. Look, if AI takes the jobs, we've just made a UBI that's not tax-based locally based upon energy. Fine, I don't care. Taxpayers aren't paying for it. Great if you want that. Or a bank. Again, now you have a community bank that helps build out businesses that will support these places. Also good. The key is, Carl, you decide. That's the key. Local people have power to decide what they want to do with that cash. All right. Hope that answers your question. Let me grab my call. I have Roger here. Roger, how are you, sir?
You said like everything I was going to say, so now I have to make something.
Oh,
new
good.
Here.
I love it. We're good.
So you were talking about. I still have been trying to wrap my head around this sovereign fund that you were talking about. However, I think I'm beginning to understand. You should definitely get somebody from the sponsor of the bill in North Dakota. They're talking about having a stable digital coin that's not volatile.
Yep.
And to work in concert.
Well, because they have a state bank, right?
Right. Yeah. I was right. So I just wanted to suggest that if you find I guess I could find the bill and find who the sponsor is.
Just when you have a moment, text it over to me, because I'm going to touch this piece now. The next thing we could do, because you've hit that piece also, and that is if we decided to fund a state bank, which I think you could do that too. Again, I want to have options, Roger. If we could fund a state bank and we decide that's the answer, with that in mind, we can legally create a New York State currency. It could be a cryptocurrency, could not be, whatever. We could do it. The option is there. Other states have it. Utah has a state currency. South Dakota has a state currency. Now, that cannot be used outside of the state. That's against the law, but it can be used locally. What does that mean? That means you can have a stable form of currency used locally. Like, for example, local co-ops, if they wanted to, farm to table, local, whatever you want, and it wouldn't necessarily be taxable. So now you could begin to go back and forth and create local communities with a separate currency if you wanted to. Nothing wrong with that. Now, why would banks support that? Here's how banks would support that. If local communities want to do that, some people want to convert their local dollars into US dollars. Allow banks to convert, and they get a small transaction fee. Boy, do banks love transaction fees. You'll get the finance community in New York State all on board. That's how we fix this. Roger, thanks for that call, my friend. I appreciate it. Look, guys, I always give you answers and ideas so we can move things forward. It's not big business. It's not big government. It's New Yorkers supporting New Yorkers. I want to say thank you so much for giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.